morning, everyone. It is a Monday. Happy New Week. It's also September 24th. It's a brand new day, a brand new week, and a brand new season. Hello, I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kim Best. Thank you for joining us this Monday morning.
Well, Kim, here we go. Fall season arrived over the weekend. Had
That's
a little bit of rain in places, not everywhere yesterday, but and overnight. But we're on our way to a beautiful week weather-wise, and highs in the mid to lower 70s.
That's perfect this time of year. I can't believe it's already fall.
I tell you, it's fall, and that means it's time for a lot of activities to be getting underway here in the Wayne County area. City of Goldsboro with a lot of activities, festivals, and of course, our big old fair is getting underway this week. In fact, Thursday.
Starts Thursday.
That's right, the Wayne Regional Agricultural Fair getting underway Thursday at the Wayne County Fairgrounds.
That's right. It'll be here for 10 days. Lots of activities to participate in.
Yeah.
You can go and see what's all around Wayne County, from livestock to goodies people have cooked and things people have made.
And things people have made, that's right. And
That's
you want to see some, well, it's beautiful artwork. They make trinkets. They make things. They have livestock. Children have livestock they've taken care of.
Pies and cakes and pickles, and the list goes on and on.
Oh, I love it. And of course, it's always the fair food, which is more and better than just fair. It's fair food, which is great. Should be called great food.
That's right, and it's coming up all starting Thursday.
I can't wait.
That's
and
right.
You think they'll let us come out there and do a program or two?
I think they just might.
I hope so. I want to go to the fair.
Might. And we want to remind everybody, Tuesday is Senior Citizens Day also.
Oh boy.
So senior citizens get in free.
That's right. Now that starts on the 27th, which is a Thursday,
That's right.
and the 28th is a Friday. That would be the 2nd. October 2nd is Senior Citizen Day.
Where all seniors get in free.
Oh boy.
That's right. Lots to look forward to. Who is on the show today?
Well,
Wayne?
let me see. I just had that here a moment ago. We have we have on the program, Stephen Potter is going to be with us. Stephen is with the Department of Social Services. He's going to tell us a few things, and I think you'll find it very informational. There's a lot of good information there from Stephen. Also today we'll get an overview of Wayne Memorial Hospital from Georgia DEES. She's the information officer there at the Wayne Memorial Hospital. We'll hear from Georgia today. Also on the show today, we will enjoy Joe Heidenreich. Joe is with us today. She's going to tell us all about the big ball game coming up October 18th at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Wayne County.
That's going to be so much fun between the doctors and the lawyers.
Yes, that's it exactly. The doctors and the lawyers face off and decide who has the better softball team.
That's right.
Joe's going to tell us all about that. Also on today's program, we'll hear from Stephen Barnard, the Parks and Recreation Department.
Oh, yeah, Scott Barnard.
Scott Barnard.
That's
what
right.
did I say?
You said Stephen, but that's
well,
okay.
I meant
It's Scott.
Okay, well, he should try Stephen. That's a nice name, too.
With Goldsboro Parks and Recreation.
There you go. Also, we'll hear from our buddy Chuck Waller and our other buddy from Kate Daniels, and they're here from the Red Cross.
That's right. They're going to tell us all about being prepared for events that may happen. Disastrous events that may happen within our community and in your own personal home. How to be prepared for that.
How to be prepared. You know, that is so important because once disaster strikes, it's too late to get started. You need to be ready beforehand. I
believe the title is Emergency Preparedness.
I like that. That's good.
The title.
Let me write that down. Hey, here's a reminder for you. This is a very important election year, and I hope you are prepared for it, and I hope you have done your homework. You can't just, you can't just go out and vote without knowing for whom you're voting.
Well, they can vote early, so where can they go to vote early, and how can they vote
Well, let me tell you how you can get that information.
Okay.
And where you go to vote may not be necessarily where you always go to vote. If you're voting early, you may be going to somewhere where you normally do not go to vote. But if you want to find out all about early voting, one-stop voting, you can go online to waynegov.com, waynegov.com, put in that / the letter B-O-E.
Board of Elections.
Board of Elections. That's right. Board of Elections. And on that Board of Elections page, there's a tremendous amount of information. Go to that Board of Elections page. You can find out what precinct you live in. You can find out where your polling place is. And if you're voting on November 6th, which is the regular election day, you'll need that information. Now, if you're voting in the one-stop early voting, you'll be voting elsewhere. But they can get that you can find that information on that webpage at waynegov.com/BOE.
That's exactly right.
All right.
That's all coming up.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the phone number for the Board of Elections office is 731-1411. 734-1411, and we have a new Board of Elections director
Yes,
over there.
we do. Yes.
Yeah.
And did you give them the dates of when one-stop voting
Oh,
starts?
one-stop voting starts October 18th.
That's right. It's coming up.
Yeah, very soon. I can't believe it's less than, about a month and a half now till
Exactly.
Election Day.
Exactly.
My
Well, who was our
goodness.
very first interview with this morning?
Our very first interview will be with Georgia DEES. We're going to be talking about, we're going to get an overview of Wayne Memorial Hospital. Have you seen that new
Emergency
department over there?
Oh my goodness,
Wow.
it is nice and large and a roomy lobby. I know before, anytime you've gone to the emergency room, in the old emergency room, it was a very crowded situation.
Yeah.
And now it is much roomier, different sections, and I know it's much easier for them to work in an environment like that.
I have learned that they had personnel who works in the emergency department to help make the decisions about what goes in this new department.
Well, that's smart because they're there on a day-to-day basis and they see the issues.
Exactly, and in fact, that includes placing a nurse on duty in the lobby of
that'd
the
be so
emergency
helpful.
department, so that when somebody comes in, that nurse can immediately determine whether this person is in need of immediate help, or if this person can maybe wait just a little while,
Right.
depending on the severity of the illness or the
Well, that's
injury.
great. Georgia's going to tell us all about it.
She's going to tell us all about that. So we'll get started.
That
Here's
sounds
Georgia
great.
DEES from Wayne Memorial Hospital on WGTV today. We're here today with Georgia DEES of Wayne Memorial Hospital. And Georgia, thanks for being with us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you coming in. We want to talk about the hospital and some of the great things going on at Wayne Memorial Hospital. We'll start with this. It's your newsletter. It's the Live Well newsletter from the hospital.
Right.
Tell us about that.
It is. This is a quarterly publication that we mail out to households throughout the county, and it's basically just a lot of good information about what's going on at the hospital and the different kinds of events and things that we have coming up, and hopefully there's something in there for everybody. There's a note from our president, Bill Paul, and also a question and answer section where we bring in a physician to answer questions that people in the community have asked. So it's full of good information. It's not so long that it's overwhelming. You can kind of take it with you and read it in a waiting room or somewhere you have to go, and you can learn something while you're doing that.
And how do the people get one of these?
If you don't receive this newsletter already and would like to, they should email me at livewell@waynehealth.org, and we will put them on the mailing list.
Okay. Live well at
waynehealth.org.
waynehealth.org. Live well at waynehealth.org.
Our website is waynehealth.org.
And
So that's, just keep that in mind a lot. If you're looking it up, that's not, most people probably want to look up Wayne Memorial,
Yeah.
but it's waynehealth.org.
waynehealth.org is your website. And when people go to that website, what do they see?
Well, if they go to that website, they can see this, and we don't have to mail it to them. Because we do have this newsletter, the current newsletter, and other ones archived there, so they can look at that. So if you'd rather prefer to read it that way, that's great. It'll save us on printing and postage. But we have videos from medical experts that talk about various procedures. We just put one on this week with Dr. Bill DeRujo talking about knee replacement.
Yes.
And he has a patient that we've been featuring in an advertising campaign, Larry Gerard. And
Sure.
you might have seen him in commercials and on billboards and that kind of thing, talking about the success he's had with his knee replacement and how that got him back on the golf course in his retirement. So there's information, Dr. DeRujo talks about that and the process and what you can expect if you're thinking about a knee replacement. And there are physicians that talk about cancer, the wound care center at the hospital, just different areas to the education.
I'd like to talk about, and later in another segment, we'll talk about the wound care center and some of the innovation there at the hospital. But I'd like to talk about some of the programs you have coming up, some of the classes or support groups that you have coming up. First of all, what's on the calendar for the hospital that's going to be coming up soon? I understand there's a virtual grocery thing. What's that all about?
Virtual grocery thing.
Yeah.
This is actually
Well, anything to do with food, I'm in favor of.
It's sponsored by the Wayne County Diabetes Group,
That's
and
good.
we're hosting it in the hospital auditorium, which is on the ground floor of the hospital. It's free, open to the public. A lot of these programs are geared toward diabetics, but it's helpful to everybody. And what I'm learning from the more time I spend with the folks that work with the Diabetes Center, more people are out there with diabetes than know it. And so this could be good for everybody. It's a virtual grocery store tour, and it's going to help, the leaders will explain how to read food labels, and so that when you're grocery shopping, you'll have a better understanding of what that information on the label really means.
Oh boy, okay.
So that is September 11th at 7 p.m. at the hospital.
And that's great because, you know, you go to read a label about what's in some of these things that you buy at the grocery store, and some of it just doesn't make sense. So if you know what you're reading, then you can make better choices.
Right.
And healthier choices.
Right.
So that's coming up September
11th
at 7 p.m. at the hospital.
Now, the same, another diabetes focus is happening, we're having a program at the Y.
Okay.
We're taking this one out into the community with Watch. And Dr. Catherine Kabunkel, who's new to Wayne County, she's at Wayne Health Medical Clinic. She is going to discuss weight management and diabetes.
Oh, okay.
That is also in September. It's September 27th in the morning, 10 a.m. at the Family Y. That's
Great.
free and open to the public.
Great. I like the free ones.
There, you know, I think most everything we do is free,
I think
and that's
it is.
good because we want to educate people and we want them to feel comfortable coming out and learning, sharing the information that we have to give them.
That's great. And you do have a lot of information.
We
out
do.
there.
I'll go over real quick to some of the list.
What else is going on?
We have a Better Breathers Club that meets monthly. In September, Crystal Barrow, she is a respiratory therapist at the hospital. She will be talking about airway clearance.
Okay.
And we have a grief and loss support group. That group meets at 10 o'clock on September 11th. That's at the hospital. We have congestive heart failure support group, September 21st. Managing symptoms. There are a lot of people with congestive heart failure. That's a good program to come to. We bring in Donna Pede and her group brings in a speaker every month to just try to help those people that manage that disease.
Okay.
We have a diabetes support group, September 11th. Mended Heart support group, which is September 4th. Maybe that's stroke support group, October 25th. And we also have childbirthing classes and information like that for expectant moms and dads.
And all of this information can be found in your newsletter.
That's right.
Live Well, available at livewell@waynehealth.org.
That's right.
All right. Wow, lots of great information. And we'll be talking with Georgia Dees more about other things going on at Wayne Memorial Hospital. What's your phone number there, Georgia?
It is 919-731-6299.
And if anyone has any questions, they can call you or call the hospital.
That's right.
All right. Very good. We've been talking with Georgia Dees of Wayne Memorial Hospital. I'm Wayne Alley for WGTV.
Welcome back.
Welcome back is right.
That's right. Well, Wayne, you know, one of the things that we were talking about earlier is some of the activities that are going to be available to children and adults alike at Goldsboro Parks and Recs this fall.
Yeah.
And one of the things that is going to be unique this season that they've not had before is a hay maze.
Hay maze.
That is a maze where you're going through hay bales. It's going to be 6 feet high.
Whoa.
I don't know how long, but 6 feet high, so you're not going to be able to just look over it. And you're going to have to try to find your way through a hay maze.
Unless you have really tall eyes.
And this is not necessarily just for children. I mean, this is not a juvenile hay maze. This is one that they are preparing and designing just for teenagers and young adults and adults in general.
Okay.
So this is something you can do with your family, you can do with your friends. Groups can actually reserve time slots that are not open to the public to come and bring your youth group, your Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever group you want to be a part of, or just make up a group and call and reserve a time.
So it's a hay maze. It's a maze, and it's tall, a maze, and it's actually going to have dead ends, and you could get lost or turned around.
That's right, that's right. And that's going to be every Friday and Saturday night, the month of October. The front lawn of Herman Park Center, you'll see it. When you drive by Herman Park Center on Nash Street, you'll see all the bales of hay.
Oh, boy.
And it'll be an eye catcher. So you'll wonder what's going on. Well, that's what it is. It is a hay maze open to the public. And like I said, groups can reserve it at different times. And that is something that is going to be a little bit unique.
That sounds
for
like
the community.
a lot of fun.
They're also going to offer it on Halloween night.
Are they? Okay. Let's,
They are. That'll be
Halloween's
fun,
in
wouldn't
October,
it?
yeah.
That's right, it's coming up.
Wow, I can't believe how quickly the year has
I
gone.
know, when fall starts, it just seems like it's in double time.
Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly right. Also, well, now I mentioned earlier, and we're going to hear from Joe Heidenreich here in just a few moments about that ball game that's coming up. I do want to mention about the Planting Spring Bulbs Workshop. The Cooperative Extension Service on October 25th is going to have a workshop to show you how to plant spring bulbs. So if you enjoy the flowers of spring and everything like that, those flowers actually start when you plant the bulbs in the fall. So now's the time to do that so you can enjoy them in the springtime. Hyacinths and tulips and daffodils and all that flowery crocuses and crocus and everything. That's on October 25th from noon until 1 p.m. and then again from 6 until 7:30 at the Cooperative Extension Office at the corner of George and Chestnut Streets in downtown Goldsboro.
And they're actually trying to give you tips on how to be successful
That's exactly
in planting
right.
your bulbs.
That's right. Not everybody is 100%. When you're growing things, you're not going to grow 100% of everything you plant, regardless of how good you are.
Right.
That's exactly right. So don't be discouraged. If you've never grown a plant, you can go to this and learn from it, and then go get some bulbs and grow them, and come springtime, you'll really be happy you did. It's not hard to do. They're not hard to grow, and the rewards are just amazing. I love growing bulbs. I've got some irises and of course daylilies. I think everybody has daylilies. Daylilies grow whether you want them to or not. But it's a lot of fun and it's enjoyable, and you can get a lot of information by going to this workshop October 25th at the Cooperative Extension Service.
That's right. And one more time, we'd like to tell you, if you're a nonprofit in the Wayne County and Goldsboro area, and you would like to share information about activities and events that you have coming up, email us that information 2 weeks ahead of your event date to WGTV at Goldsboro, nope, that's not right, at WGTV at WayneGov.com, and we will promote your activity and your event through our television show here at WGTV Today.
Again, that's WGTV at WayneGov.com.
That's right.
You ever heard of Victor Borge?
Can't say that I
A
have.
very funny man. He was from Denmark. He was a comedian, and he was classically trained as a pianist. Extremely talented man, and made people laugh from the day he arrived in the U.S. until he passed away a few years ago. He had a recording. He did a thing on punctuation. Being from Denmark, you know, English is not, American English is not easy to learn for anyone. He had a recording and a routine he did about punctuation. One of the things was a period. He would so he would give you an example of punctuation if you could hear the punctuation. The period was, that was a period, and an exclamation point was a, you see,
I get it.
and I won't even tell you what the question mark sounded like, but anyway, it was hilarious. Today is punctuation day. I don't know why, but it is.
That's good to know.
So
everybody try to punctuate your words.
Please, period.
Eloquently all day long.
Okay, anyway, we're back from Neverland.
We are glad you joined us today, and we have many people to listen to. We have interviews that we've done throughout the week with various community organizations and the city and county leadership and services that we offer here in our community. We've done these interviews, and we want to share them with you and make sure that you are aware of all that goes on between the city and the county.
That's right. Let me tell you what's happening here. Coming up, we have the Boys and Girls Club of Wayne County. Joe Heidenreich is with us. She's going to tell us about the ball game coming up here on October 18th. But first of all, we're going to hear from Stephen Potter. Stephen is with the Department of Social Services, and he has some great information for you. Up next.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. That's right. Today we're talking with Stephen Potter of the Department of Social Services here in Wayne County. Stephen, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about child welfare. Now that's such a broad topic. See if we can narrow that down just a little bit. But still in terms of trying to keep it as simple as possible, which I know is really going to be tough. But explain to me, if you will please, who would qualify for child welfare? What does that mean exactly?
Well, child welfare services, when we refer to them on a DSS level, when we're talking about child welfare, we're not necessarily talking about economic services. We're talking about child welfare as in abuse, neglect, and dependency.
Okay.
So how we operate is pretty much the same standard throughout the state. The portal of entry for a case for us is through intake. People make a CPS report.
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay.
Now, what does that mean? What is intake?
Intake. If a citizen calls in with a concern about a child that they feel has been abused or neglected or is dependent, they would call the agency and they would make a CPS, Child Protective Services, report.
Got it. Okay.
We would take that information and then that information would be screened. The state provides us in our manual with a screening tool, which is based on the general statutes, which tells you whether or not it rises to the level of abuse, neglect, or dependency.
So this is an investigation?
Yes.
Okay.
If it meets that criteria.
If it meets that criteria, give me an example if you would.
Child has been disciplined and has marks or bruises.
Okay.
Okay.
That calls for
And
investigation.
that could be either, depending on the severity, it could be abuse, or it could be neglect for inappropriate discipline.
Now, you're not sitting there waiting for somebody to really mess up, are you? You're sitting there, of course, I know that the bottom line is you're looking out for the best interest of the child, to protect the child. But now you're not waiting for somebody to really mess up so you can get them. No. I understand that.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, you have the best interest of the child, but there's some people who might feel that way.
And you know, I always used to joke that when I would go do presentations, that if you were the person making the report, I was the person not doing enough. And if you were the person the report was on, I was the person doing too much.
Yeah.
But you know, the state revised child welfare, reformed it several years ago, and it was called multiple response systems. And so in that report, if it's screened in, we have two different tracks that we go down now for assessments, or the old term investigations.
Right.
It's a lot more family friendly. But if you get a report of abuse, such as sexual abuse, physical abuse, or very serious neglect that places the child in imminent risk of harm, those go down the investigative track, which is that old school track where we knock on the door unannounced and go through that, or go see the children at school before we've talked to the family. Family assessments, which are the vast majority of what we do, are much more directed toward being family friendly. And we go, in those cases, when we get those are the general neglect, which is by far the majority of what we do. We try to contact the family in order to get, to set up a time to meet with them and see them all at once, within the mandated time frame.
This has really got to be a tough job.
It can be. Child welfare workers do tend to burn out. We do experience higher than normal turnover.
There might be some people who would say, well, you sometimes you come on a little strong sometimes. They may feel that sometimes that you're going overboard in trying to protect the child, and that there may be no case at all there. Well, see, that's what you do, isn't it? You investigate to see if there is indeed a case.
If there is indeed a case. And I can tell you, I think Wayne County has always been, we were one of the, back in the 90s, there was an initiative called Families for Kids, FFK, which was a Kellogg grant. And we were involved with that, one of the counties in North Carolina that participated in that. So we were doing family-type meetings dating back to that day, long before the state ever went down that road. So we've always sought to have family input.
What would you say would be one of the most common misconceptions about your office? What do people just not understand?
I think a lot of people look at us as, you've heard the term baby snatcher over the years. And I can honestly say, even with foster care, when you get in a situation where you go out and assess and the child you feel like is just in extreme risk, that you have to have, have to make a plan. Even within our foster care system, I would say roughly half of those children are not in licensed foster homes or facilities. We've placed them with family members. We've gone out and done kinship care assessments to try to keep the child with the family.
Is it that if the child is not in a safe environment, and I think this is what I'm hearing, you will take the child and place it with a family member.
If we can.
If you can, first.
That's our first step.
That's the first step. Aunt, uncle,
grandparent,
whatever.
Right.
So if someone has a concern about someone they know who may be abusing a child in some way, now is that only in physical abuse, or?
You can have emotional abuse if it's impacting the child. Yes.
what would they do? What's the first thing they do?
The first step would be to contact the agency,
Okay.
to call the agency to make a CPS report. And by general statute, anyone in the state who feels like that they have witnessed or have knowledge of child neglect or abuse is under obligation to report.
So they should. They should. They're under obligation to do so. Is that information confidential? The report that they call in, is their name kept?
Well, and you know, they don't have to give a name. We have to ask for the name.
Right.
But they do not have to give a name.
And then you take that report, and what happens?
That report is screened. We decide whether it rises to the level of abuse, neglect, or dependency by use of the screening tool.
Right.
Then after it's screened, if it is screened in, we have to decide whether it is abuse or neglect or dependency.
Right.
And then we have to assign it a response time. If it's abuse, it's got to be within 24 hours. We have immediate response, 24-hour, and 72-hour response. So abuse has to be within 24 hours. It's got to be one of the former two. The neglect cases typically can fall in 72 hours. I can say that at Wayne County DSS, just because a report might be 72 hours, we just don't sit on it for the 72nd hour.
Right.
We go ahead and try to initiate as quickly as manpower will allow us to.
Well, in a perfect world, we wouldn't need you, and unfortunately, that's not the case. There are cases where children are abused, and if that is the case, and you happen to know of a case where there's a child being abused, you are obligated to call the DSS. What's that number there, Stephen?
919
Yes, sir.
580 4034.
580-4034. 919-580-4034. Our guest has been Stephen Potter of the Department of Social Services, and thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Okay.
Good morning and welcome to WGTV. I'm Kim Best, your host. This morning I have with me two local gentlemen, Ben Farlow with Goldsboro Disc Golf Club and Scott Barnard with Goldsboro Parks and Recreation. Good morning.
Good morning.
Glad to have you guys here this morning.
We appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, we're here to talk about the Goldsboro Disc Golf Club. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yes.
All right. Tell us, what is disc golf and where can we find a way to participate here in Goldsboro?
Yes, it goes to me. Disc golf is a sport very similar to ball golf, which you see everywhere, except the difference is you're throwing frisbees instead of hitting a golf ball. Object is the same. Holes are a little different. Instead of hitting it a hole in the ground, there's a large basket, and you've probably seen them out in Stony Creek if people drive by and have no idea what those things are. Those are the actual targets for golf discs.
Okay. Is it an organized sport? Like, do you have teams, or is this something you do individually?
Just like regular golf, it's an individual sport. You go out and every throw counts as a stroke, just like in regular golf, until the disc is in the basket.
Well, good. That sounds fantastic. And the main place this takes place is at Stony Creek Park?
Right now, Stony Creek is the only course we have. I'm working out there this week with a bunch of other members of the club and with the help of Parks and Recreation. When this course is complete, we're looking to break ground on a new course in Berkeley Park.
And we're real excited. The Goldsboro Kiwanis Club has just made a really great donation. They are funding half of the baskets, the targets, if you will, for a second course at Berkeley Park. So
that's two separate locations.
You got it. So late this fall and early winter, that course will be going in, and it takes a little bit of time for them to quote unquote play in. They have to get worn out a little bit, and then by this spring we'll have two phenomenal disc golf courses that'll be complete, tee pads, signage, just ready to go.
Well, now, Ben, you're the founder of the original group here in Goldsboro. You helped get this started. Can you tell us a little bit about that group and your membership?
Absolutely. It came together, you know, when the course first got put out there by a couple guys. They were in school. This was kind of their graduation project because they were, you know, they were rec majors. Just met a bunch of people out there playing. I hadn't played in years since I went to school in Wilmington, graduated in '97. And so when I saw the course go in, I really got excited about it. Met a great group of people out there, played in some local tournaments, and we just decided it was time to get a group together and have some tournaments of our own and have our own bag tag league like they have in other cities.
Okay, so you're in the infancy stages at this point, but
Right.
you're getting organized, and I believe you have a Facebook page.
We do. We just had our first meeting a couple weeks ago, but if you want to find out information about it, you can go to Facebook. All you have to do is type in a search for Goldsboro Disc Golf. Goldsboro Disc Golf Club will probably be the first thing that comes up in your search.
Okay, so like that page and keep
Like
going
that
every
page,
now and
follow.
again.
There's constantly posting information on there if we're going to have club events. Otherwise, I just say, go out to the course and play as much as you can.
Well, tell us about the tournaments that you have coming up.
We have a tournament for club members only coming up September 30, and this is going to be to give out our bag tags for the first time. And the bag tag challenge, if you don't know, it's kind of like a tennis or a racquetball ladder.
Okay.
The object is to be number 1.
Of course it is.
Yeah. So if you're number 7 and you want to be number 1, you challenge that guy to a match, and if you beat him, you just trade tags, and you're the new number 1. So to give out the tags, we're going to have that tournament September 30, but we're also going to have a PDGA sanctioned tournament November 11. It's going to be a one-day tournament.
At Stony Creek.
At Stony Creek Park,
Okay.
hopefully completed by then. Yeah, it's kind of a lower level event, but we're going to have professional level players from all over the North Carolina area come down and play the
Wow.
course and help us give some feedback.
Yeah, give some support to
Absolutely.
Goldsboro starting up our group.
Absolutely.
Well, what kind of equipment do you need to play this sport? And I think you said earlier where you can get it, but what do you need?
All you need are, they make special discs for golf. They're smaller than your regular Frisbees that you might have at your house. But even if you just have a regular catch disc, the kind you throw to each other on the beach or in your backyard or whatever, you can start with that just to kind of see if you enjoy the sport. But they make regular golf discs. They cost anywhere from $5 to $20 depending on, what level disc you want to get. And it's very cheap sport to get into. There's no greens fees, no cart fees. You just go out to the park and you play.
It's all about being active.
Absolutely.
And having lots of activities to offer everybody, all ages, here in Goldsboro.
Yeah, it's a great game for families, folks of different abilities. While it can be frustrating to go play ball golf with somebody
Right.
who's a much better player than you are while they're waiting for you to catch up, which is the case anytime I play with somebody, they're always waiting for me. Disc golf is a little bit different. You can kind of keep a pace of a group going. You can have a person who's just a really experienced, well-rounded, skilled player playing with a newbie, and they can both have a really good experience on a disc golf course. And the beauty of the fact that you might have a whole $15, $20 investment in getting started, and that's assuming you can't find a dusty Frisbee in the back of the garage.
Absolutely. So could small groups, whether it's youth groups or school groups, whatever, could they go out and participate as well?
Absolutely. Scouts, Young Life, just groups of friends.
Absolutely. Okay.
And then if you show up in the parking lot and you just have that, hey, I'm looking for somebody to play with look. More often than not, you're going to quickly make
somebody
some
out
friends
there.
and be playing around.
Well, that's great. Okay, so that is Goldsboro Disc Golf, and we play at Stony Creek right now, and in the future we'll also have it at Berkeley Park. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right.
And when you go for that search, disc is spelled D-I-S-C.
C.
D-I-S-C.
Disc golf. So like their Facebook page if you'd like to learn more about Goldsboro Disc Golf. And Ben Farlow, the founder, will be glad to get back with you on Facebook if you have questions. And if you have additional information you'd like, you can talk with Goldsboro Parks and Recreation. Scott Barnard and his staff
Absolutely.
would be glad to answer your questions. But be active. Go out to Stony Creek and take your Frisbee and try the game out. Thank you for being on WGTV. I'm Kim Best, your host. Welcome to WGTV Today. I'm Kim Best, your host, dedicated to bringing you events and activities throughout our community. With me today is Chuck Waller. He is the Executive Director of the American Red Cross here in Wayne County. And we also have Vice Chair of his board, Kate Daniels. Welcome, guys.
Great, thank you.
So glad to have you here to learn all about the events and the activities that the American Red Cross supports within our community.
Right.
Well, Wayne County chapter is the one that you are totally in charge of. You are the one who is executive director who drives the Wayne County chapter of American Red Cross. And what I'd like for you to tell the community, if you would, Chuck, is what is the American Red Cross? What is the Wayne County chapter, and what does it do within our community?
Well, essentially, day in and day out, we provide 4 very, very valuable services to the community. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. We're on call if there's a disaster in Wayne County, if someone's home burns to the ground, if there's a large-scale event, a tornado, a hurricane, or a flood. We're out there responding. The day in and day out, the disaster we respond to most is single-family fires. So we respond to disasters large and small. Second thing we do is about every other day, we're somewhere in Wayne County collecting blood. We're twisting arms, begging people to show up to give the gift of life. We'll collect about 6,500 units of blood each year in little old Wayne County. We're very, very
My
proud
goodness.
of that collection, and we just got a lot of dedicated blood donors, and we can't do it without the blood
Right.
donors. Third thing we do is we facilitate training. We help folks learn CPR. First day we teach kids how to babysit. We can teach swimming. We can teach lifeguarding. Heck, fire, we can teach you CPR for your cats and your dogs if that's important to
Wow.
you. So we facilitate a lot of training here in Wayne County. And then one of the things that we're very, very proud to be able to do is we're the communication link between a service member and their family during a time of an emergency. If a service member is on the other side of the world and their mother here in Wayne County has a heart attack, Red Cross's role in that is once we're contacted by the family, we validate that emergency, and then once we confirm that it's a legitimate emergency, we get that communication delivered to that service member no matter where he or she may be on this planet. And then it's up to the commanding officer to decide whether or not they come home. But we are the link during times of a family emergency, but also we're the link if there's a birth or something like
Right.
that. But we're the link between the family and that service member. So we're very, very proud to have a role in that. So it's four things. We respond to disasters, we collect blood, we facilitate training, and then we're the emergency communication link between the family and the service member.
That's a big responsibility. That's a long list to
it
do on a
is,
daily
and-
basis.
And we're able to do it through the commitment of a very caring community and a lot of dedicated volunteers. Things don't happen unless people provide the dollars to enable us to do it, and people show up to help us do it.
Absolutely.
So-
Well, talking about dollars, tell me about your funding. How is the Wayne County chapter funded for
Well,
American Red Cross?
one of the great myths I encounter day in and day out is, well, you get money from the government. What are you out here trying to raise money? Well, we don't get any government funding. We really don't. We're a partner with United Way. They're a great supporter of what we do. We can't do what we do without their support. But beyond that, everything that we're able to do in the community is done through the benevolence of the people in the communities. So
Right.
when we're out there saying, folks, can you help us with this? Can you help us with that? I tell people all the time, you don't give to the American Red Cross as much as you give through the American Red Cross. We're taking it, we're putting it back in every help this family whose house burned down. We're over here trying to collect blood. So when this child's in the car wreck next week, we got the blood available to train or to
Yeah.
deliver that emergency communication. So
Y'all are the organizer and the middleman.
that's
what it
exactly
sounds
right.
like.
We're the conduit, for lack
Yeah.
of a better term. We
Absolutely.
take those dollars and convert it into services.
Well, Kate, you were a board member. You've been actively
Yes.
involved in the Red Cross, the Wayne County chapter for years. As a person who has seen the changes and seen the growth of our Red Cross chapter, tell me how it's affected you or what you've seen the American Red Cross
Sure.
do in our community.
Sure. Well, I think I'm like a lot of community members that have over the years, we know they collect blood. We know that they help in disasters because when you watch, if there's a disaster anywhere in the world, you see the Red Cross vest.
Absolutely.
But what I didn't realize was the other services, and mainly CPR training. You think about all the tools that the Red Cross can give you, and you never know if you are going to be sitting at a restaurant and the person next to you is going to choke or have a heart attack, and you can't live your life and wonder, gosh, I wish I could have done more.
Right.
But what the Red Cross does is they arm you with the knowledge. They arm you with the power. I've heard amazing, tremendous stories come through the Red Cross right here in our community whose lives have been touched and changed, and changed, not just touched, but changed because of what the Red Cross has done. And the big thing is, I always thought that they received government money. And
As
they don't.
so many people believe that.
And the amount of volunteers in this community, it gives me goosebumps thinking about what people do in this community. We are truly fortunate to have the Red Cross here, to have Chuck's leadership, to have these volunteers, to have a community that should there be a need, which there's always going to be a need, there's always going to be disasters, there's always going to be accidents, there's always going to be fires. What we can try to do is train people to prepare, be ahead of it, to respond to it, and what to do in case of an emergency, and be there for each other to help lift each other up. And that's what the Red Cross does. So it's an amazing organization in our community.
Well, I know they appreciate your dedication, your
Absolutely.
enthusiasm, your involvement, along with all of the other volunteers that continue on a
Right.
regular basis to be involved. And if somebody wanted to be a part or become a part of the Red Cross, how would they do that?
If they would contact the chapter, we would be glad to walk them through the volunteer process, and we always need more. The more people we have, the more we can do. So,
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about, and Kate, you touched on it, being prepared, having an emergency plan. Tell us about that, Chuck. What do we need to do?
well, first thing you need to do is you have an emergency kit. Well, what are you going to do? Because the last thing you want to be doing is when the water's coming in the house and say, well, I need this and I need that. So go ahead and have these things ready. And I would encourage folks, let me say this before I say anything else, go to www.redcross.org. We've got all this information there that you can download and you'll have it. But things that go in the kit are things like, you need a radio. You need a radio probably with batteries, because if you're not going to have power or something, you want to be able to stay in touch with what's going on. You may need some non-perishable food. You'll need water, a gallon per person per day. You need things like, what if your meds? If you take prescription medications, you need to have your meds.
Right.
Probably a good idea to have your important papers in there too, like your insurance policies, your birth certificates, your passports. Have those type things. They have things there like, you may need some work gloves. What if you need to cut the gas off to the house? Have you got a tool? What if you need to cut the water off to the house? Have you got a tool? So just basic things like that you need to have in that kit, and you need to have it ready, and you need to go back and check it from time to time. Are your batteries still good?
That's what I
Is your
was gonna
food
say,
out of
right.
date? Is the water out of date? Are your meds out of date? Real simple stuff. If you got a child and you need diapers and you need baby bottles, you might want to get a toy in there too. You know, so just very common sense things. But the time to do it is now. It's not to do it when the wind's blowing 100 miles an hour, when the water's rising. Do it now while your head's clear.
Well, you talk about having your kit, so you've got your kit pulled together. Now, how about having a plan of where to go?
Right, that's a great idea. One of the things we try to teach folks is, especially during a house fire, have you and your family talked about how you're going to get out of the house if the fire's in the kitchen?
Right.
Okay? And if your back door's blocked, where do you go? Well, you may go out the front door. But what if the front door and the back door are blocked? How are you going to get out of the house? Is there a window nearby? Okay. All right. Can you get out? Can you get out of the window? If you need to throw something through the window, or something nearby that you can throw through the window, I mean, you got to plan. What if you're upstairs and the stairway is blocked? Have you thought about how are you going to get down the stairs? If you got two, ways to get out, that's good. But if you just got one way, well, is there a window you can go out that leads you onto a roof, that leads you? There are a number of scenarios that you can play out on this thing. The key is to sit down and determine what works best for you and your family, and let everybody know. Again, the time to figure out how to get out of the house during the fire is not when the fire is going.
Right.
It is
Exactly.
beforehand.
Being prepared.
So that's exactly right. In things like maybe larger scale events that impact neighborhoods, like floods, like
And Wayne County's had plenty of that.
and tornadoes, come through that just devastate the entire neighborhood. What you want to do, people have to get out in a hurry, and one may be going this way, one may be going that way, and I would be the first person to forget their cell phone. My kids, I'm sure, would have this, but I would not have mine. But you need to determine, where you're going to meet. Let's sit down and decide a place far outside the neighborhood.
Right,
Let's
it's not
meet-
in your front yard necessarily.
That's exactly right, and it's probably going to be outside your neighborhood. It may be at a gas station 2 miles away. It may be at a restaurant. It may be, you pick what makes the most sense, but you determine this is where we're going to meet if we get separated during a disaster or something of that type. Another thing is to have a communication plan. If we all get separated, we're all going in different directions, let's call Aunt Millie in Oklahoma to let everybody know that we're out, that we're safe, and that way we can check to see, is everybody present and accounted for.
Right,
so
absolutely.
having those types of plans in place, they're real simple, but the key to it is have it in place before you need it. Better to have it, not need it, than need it and not have it.
Well, and Chuck, you told me earlier, and Kate, we were talking about this, the Red Cross provides all of this assistance for free
Right.
in every neighborhood. It doesn't matter
No matter where you live.
where you live.
Right.
Everything is free to the community members that are in need.
It is assistance from the people for the people.
people.
Comes to us and through us, and and you're exactly right. It is free, and I tell folks all the time, we respond to disasters in the richest neighborhoods and the poorest neighborhoods and every neighborhood in between.
Absolutely. Well, if somebody one more time wants to call the Red Cross Wayne County chapter, what number do they need to call?
919-735-7201.
And let's give them the website one more time.
www.redcross.org.
So if you're interested in being a part of the Red Cross, we've given you the number, we've given you the website. They need your help. They need your blood, they need your help.
That's right.
So give them a call. Chuck would be glad to give you additional information. They have on their website list of where the blood drives will be throughout our community, and we here on our show are constantly giving you
Yes, you
updates
are.
about where to go, how to give blood, and if you can't give blood, then you can volunteer in other ways.
That's right.
So thank you for being with us today on WGTV Today.
Today we're talking with Joe Heidenreich of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Wayne County. Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Wayne. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you.
The Boys and Girls Clubs of Wayne County. What a great organization.
It is a great organization.
All right. First of all, there's the Boys and Girls Club on Royal Avenue, and I think most people are aware of that, but there are others.
Yes, we have 3 other locations.
Tell me about them.
We have one in northern Wayne,
Right.
Which is in Fremont.
Right.
We have one in Mount Olive on Brazil Avenue, and then we also have the one in Selma. It's called Boys and Girls Clubs of Johnston County, Selma unit, but it's under our umbrella.
Under the umbrella of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Wayne County.
Yes.
All right. For those who may not be familiar with the Boys and Girls Club, what does the Boys and Girls Club do?
We are an after-school program for boys and girls ages 6 to 18. Most of the kids that we have come from like the city schools, like North Drive, Carver Heights, Dillard. But we serve as many as 1,600 kids a year in after-school programs.
Wow.
We have programs that we run with them, like triple play. Every day they come into the club, they get a few minutes to play when their bus first gets there and they get off the bus, but then every day everybody has to do homework from 4 to 5.
They do their
Power
homework
hour. They
right
do
there,
their
the power hour.
Power hour, right there
at
at the club.
Okay.
And then we have other programs that we run certain days of the week. Triple Play, which is a health and wellness program. Street Smarts, which is gang prevention and anti-drug and smoking and that kind of thing. Gosh, there's so many of them. Smart Moves. We just have a lot of different programs we run, but it's run with like high yield learning activities, so they don't feel like they're still in school once they get there.
I think anyone who's familiar with the name Denzel Washington has heard his promotion of the Boys and Girls Club. He was quite active as a youngster with Boys and Girls Club and strongly promotes that organization.
Oh yeah, he's our national spokesperson.
Oh, yes.
There are a lot of famous people that went to the Boys and
That's
Girls Club.
true.
A lot of famous people.
You have an event coming up October 18th.
We do.
And it's a big one.
Yeah, we're excited about it. It's the first time we're having it. They kind of used to do this a while back, a few years back. But we're calling it Play Ball for the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Play ball for the Boys and Girls Clubs.
And it's going to be the attorneys versus the doctors here in Wayne County.
Oh, I seem to recall there was doctors and attorneys and all that were playing ball here a few years ago.
Several years ago. And we actually got approached about doing it again and doing it for the Boys and Girls Club.
So this is actually attorneys at law going up against medical doctors in a ball game.
That's exactly right.
And it's the 18th. Where is this going to be?
It's going to be at our Goldsboro unit, which is on Royal Avenue.
Right.
We're going to start at 6 o'clock.
Right.
We're going to serve dinner. And then have, our MC is going to be George Whitfield, who is one of our board members, but he's also well-known and well-respected in the baseball community.
Yes, love the coach.
Oh, yeah.
I've known him many years. He's a wonderful man.
So he's our MC, but we're going to have dinner, and then about 6:40 we're going to have a guest speaker. And our guest speaker is our new team director, whose name is Anthony Tichy. And if you're an avid sports basketball enthusiast, he actually was from Goldsboro. He played for Goldsboro High School, went to Wake Forest, played for Wake Forest during the days of Michael Jordan.
Right.
And then he went to, he was drafted by the NBA and played with the Dallas Mavericks for a while, and then he went and played overseas.
Oh.
And he wanted to come back home, so he's been working as our team director for the last couple of weeks, and he's going to be our featured speaker.
Wonderful.
So we get to introduce him to the community there.
Oh, that's great.
And then at 7 o'clock, we're going to play ball.
Going to play ball. It's a softball game. It starts at 7. And it's going to go for either 6 innings
or 2 hours.
Or 2
max.
hours. You can't go beyond 2 hours, so that's it. And the and you're looking for sponsors.
Yes, we are. We only have 3 levels of sponsorship. We're actually looking to sell dinner tables of 8. That's what we would like to do. And that sponsorship level we're calling Double Play, and it's $200 for a table of 8. Then to hit a home run, it's a $500 sponsorship, and that gives you sponsorship recognition under the table of 8. And then to hit a grand slam with us, it's a $1,000 sponsorship, and you get 2 dinner tables of 8. But we'd like to sell some more tables and have
Right.
people come out and enjoy the ball game.
How does someone become a sponsor?
They just contact us at the Boys and Girls Club. They can call the club at 735-2358 and ask for me.
735-2358.
That's correct.
Ask for Joe Heidenreich.
And we'd love to have them come play ball with us. It'll be a fun night. It's Thursday, October 18th from 6 to 9.
Do you already have all the teams?
We need a few more players. We're talking it up, you know, and this has really just kind of been, we just started planning this like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So it's not
okay.
anything we've been working on for
Okay,
a while.
so you
we
still need some
few-
doctors and lawyers.
You need a few more players.
All right.
So we really need to sell the sponsorship tables.
Yeah, okay. Again, that's on October 18th. Call Joe Heidenreich. Again, that number is 73-something.
735-2358.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 735-2358. Joe Heidenreich.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being
Thank
with
you,
us.
Wayne. I
Great.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
And we're back on WGTV today, Kim.
We are. Thank you for staying with us.
Yeah, we'll be, in fact, our program runs 5 days a week. In fact, we come on at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're on until about 8, and then after that, our program replays.
It does. It runs again at 12 noon. It runs later in the afternoon, about 5:30, and then it runs later in the evening between 10 and 11, and then through the weekend on Saturday and Sunday, it's the best of. So they run multiple shows over and over on Saturday and Sunday. But there's other places that you can actually find our shows.
We have best ofs?
Well, so they tell me.
All right. Okay.
You can actually watch all of our shows,
Or all both of them.
on the city and the county's YouTube channels and stations. There's links to these YouTube stations on our website, both the city and the county.
That's exactly right. It's YouTube on the city and the county's website.
And they're all listed there by date.
That indeed they are. So have at it and enjoy. And we'll be back Tuesday morning. Today's
That's
Monday.
right,
Boom.
tomorrow morning.
That's right. Today is Monday. Can you tell?
All day long.
That's right. We'll be back Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock. So have a great evening, a great
That's
afternoon,
right.
great evening.
Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for the rest of the week. We've got some great interviews coming up about other things in our community.
Yeah. So until tomorrow, I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kim Best. Thank you so much for listening to What's Happening in Your City.